Ed Bauter and Dan Schwester from the Overrun on EMS1 News, and today we're going to talk about a case down in Texas that has kind of piqued our interest. We have this case today of a man who was injured when he was younger and is now no longer able to walk. He is 536 pounds, and there's an issue with local EMS taking him to the hospital to be seen. This patient was injured at a very young age, has had several surgeries, is now 536 pounds and is bedbound. Danny, we're not getting to this patient to the hospital or to the care that we need or that he needs fairly effectively, are we?
No, it seems like the agencies involved can't seem to come up with a solution for this gentleman who needs transport to his medical appointments, his physicians, and as of this point, his only recourse has been to call 911 so that the local fire department paramedic unit will come get him. The fire department, for their part, has acknowledged that they're not going to say no to him, but they're taking frontline medic units that are supposed to answer 911 calls for non-emergent things, and it's hurting their response times. The local AMR division is quoted in the article. They pointed out that they have the ability to help this man, but on the other hand, they didn't really come out and say that they would help this man.
Yeah, and that's one of the most important variables here, where the local EMS agency is a paid agency, is a private agency. They do not have a bariatric truck. The paramedic units that are at Longview do have the capability of transporting this patient, but because this patient has become such a super user for their actual system, the transport to the physician, the transport to the hospital is becoming a little bit too overwhelming for Longview specifically. So now we have this patient who is, again, 536 pounds, secondary to injury, needs to get to the care that he needs to get to. In the article, he hasn't been to go see a doctor in 7 months. And of course, the patient has experienced certain embarrassments about this because they're not able to take him out of the house. So this is one of those stories that we see, Dan, where it feels like a systemic failure for this particular patient, right? We know that he has to get to the care that he needs, and there's just not enough resources to take him there. And this seems to be a function where each organization is sort of trying to wash their hands of it because, it's not something that we can handle, so it's somebody else's problem. And the patient is kind of being left out in the lurch here.
Yeah, it's kind of sounds like that. It's that everybody knows that there's a solution that needs to be addressed, but nobody's willing to take the step to address it. This is the kind of thing where you're going to need to use creative leadership. You're going to have to use some engagement of multidisciplinary agencies to see if you can help this person. Super users are a growing problem in EMS agencies because they do take resources. We still have a duty to act. We still have a duty to take care of these people, but are we doing it in the best way possible, the most efficient way possible, so that everyone gets what they need? That's the problem here.
No, and absolutely. And here we don't see the interdepartmental cooperation that I think would be more ideal for this patient, right? Again, there's a lot of organizations saying that this isn't our problem or there isn't an infrastructure for this particular patient to get the help that he needs. And the creative leadership thing I think is important, where you have to get at least two of these organizations, at least Longview Fire and the private agency that's involved in the area, to discuss the logistics to fix this problem. This isn't a problem. Super users aren't a problem that are going away, is the first thing. And specifically for this patient, just given his long-term illnesses and that he's bedbound, he's had all these injuries, this is someone who's going to need care for the rest of his life. And it certainly is someone who's going to need to be seen by private physicians, and going to the ER every time is just not going to help this patient.
Not a good solution.
No. And it's going to end up becoming this self-consuming cycle where, we worry about this patient getting to the hospital. Can they get to the hospital effectively? What type of truck do we need? And it's just it's that Swiss cheese model of failure that we keep reading about and hearing about, where there's only so many things that can go wrong. And it seems like all of these things kind of fell through the cracks. I tend to think that this patient deserves better care, and I know that it's a logistical nightmare to do it, but these organizations are going to have to work together and try and find a solution for this patient. Check out more of the story on the Overrun, and for EMS1, I'm Ed Bauter.
I'm Dan Schwester.
And we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.